Hello, everybody. Shadow SP here. I'm back here on Granblue Fantasy. Gonna talk about something that's kind of progression. Um, Basically, I got the idea to talk about this at the end of my last kind of off-the-cuff, unscripted video, which was the Vohumanon Maniac clear. Yeah, basically what I'm gonna do is talk about things that I have done on this account that you should not do. And I've done them only because I know that this account is never going to pull up a gacha. And I'm also going to talk about a few things that I haven't been doing that I should be in order to be optimal. I'm not planning on changing this now, but for those of you who may be seeking to emulate this kind of account experience, you'll have an easier time if you do some of these other things. Okay, let's get into it. So a lot of what we're going to look at is in the shop. We've got a few shop tabs that I have not pulled open on on video, and these are pretty important tabs, right? The first one is something that you have access to that you don't really have that much control of in the early game, and that's the FP tab. Basically, when a raid goes on for a long time, the cost in EP to join it goes down, and when you clear the raid, you get FP. It's hard to control when we have access to so few raids, and most of the low-level raids die really quickly and easily. But I've managed to accumulate a small amount. If you're going to be playing, for a long time, I would recommend not spending these and just buying sunlight shards whenever you have the FP to buy them. But otherwise, I mean, there's some pretty good stuff in here. You've got this experience. You can buy CP. These are kind of the low-level things that you might be able to get. This stuff is, materials for crafting high-level weapons that we won't have access to for a very long time. There's basically some drops from a lot of content in the game, and some of it will be hard to accomplish with this account's restrictions, so I'm going to be saving up our FP, and maybe we can use it at a later date to circumvent some of these obstacles before they stonewall us. So, another tab is the Daily Points tab. Now, this tab, you will get, just by logging in every day, you get 10 points. And these will give you access to some high-level weapons before you can hit those raids. These weapons that are shown on screen are from raids that we can't access at our rank. So I will probably use these points to buy, some of these weapons at some point, just to make the grind a little easier. You can also buy experience. But another thing that's cool about these daily points is that there's a decent amount of skins available in the shop, outfits. So you can, if you have a character that that's in here that you'd prefer to have a different appearance, go for it. Other than that, basically the only thing that's worthwhile to get is weapons, and there are a few weapons that I'm interested in getting access to before we are able to farm them. And in fact, getting some of these weapons may make farming the raids that they drop from possible in the first place. So, going back. Now, these are things that I've been kind of doing that we don't really have control over. Let's talk about something that I haven't been doing that would be optimal, and that is Skyleap. Skyleap points. So when you do your raids, when you host raids on Skyleap, the next day on a daily reset, it will give you some Skyleap points. And these Skyleap points can be used to trade for a pretty wide variety of things, some of which are very useful, right? There's always this SSR weapon ticket. Don't obsess over it. it's not worth pouring everything into. If you happen to not need anything else and you have the points for them, go for it. But otherwise, I'd be more interested in doing something else. It's like, you know, Horn of Bahamut. That's from a raid that's going to be really hard for us to clear, and we might need this. But I don't have any Skyleap points, and I don't intend to start playing on the Skyleap browser. All of my recording and everything for this account has been done on desktop. So I want to make sure that I'm consistent, and make sure everything sounds and looks consistent. So I'm planning on staying with that. You can get the Silver Centrums in here also. It's a hard material for this kind of account to get. But if you're planning on playing this game and planning on doing something similar to what I've been doing, I would recommend playing it on Skyleap. It's a pretty responsive browser. It's not really having any issues when it comes to playing the game. I do use Skyleap all the time for my main account. So over there, I've got a ton of these Skyleap points. But over here, where I need them, I have absolutely none. All right. Now, the big one. So the Pendants Shop, right? The Pendants Shop is where you can buy a couple of things. You can buy weapons, sure. That's not what I want to talk about right now. Buying weapons with pendants is expected and optimal. There's a category of items that shows up monthly in the pendant shop called moons. Right, and those moons are a different currency that's used in the Trade Moons tab. So you'll see, I have 1 silver moon and 2 bronze moons. I have 0 gold moons, but the gold moon has been bought from the shop. So basically, in the moon shop, you kind of accumulate some moons and can trade them for things that probably will be helpful, right? Like you can get the Peridot Carbuncle from the Bronze Moon's shop, and this is generally not that hard to do. You know, to get 10 bronze moons, because if you're pulling on the gacha during the time of the anniversary, which has a bunch of free rolls, you probably get these. And if you have a really advanced account, have most of the units, you're gonna get a lot of moons. You know, and if you are in that stage, you can get the Damascus Ingot, which you can use to uncap SSR weapons. Generally used to uncap gacha weapons that you want to use in your actual grids. You'll see Damascus Ingot is in every single one of these moons tabs, right? So Silver Moons is where you start seeing some interesting stuff. You know, you've got these which will allow you to, when you use them on a character, unlock more extended mastery nodes. We haven't really gotten into that yet. We'll talk about it later. It also has weapons. Right? These are weapons that can be used as generally main hands. They're not all that good for the most part, and they're very expensive. But you can see like Peridot Carbuncle only costs 3 silver moons. So eventually, this account will be able to trade for this pretty easily. Just a couple more months. Yeah. Alright, then we get to the big one, the gold moons. Gold moons have a couple of really important things that you can look at. I mean, if you're really swimming in gold moons, there's always more Damascus Ingots, but I wouldn't recommend getting those. Yeah, I mean, you got stuff like this. There's a ton of really strong weapons that you can get in gold moons. You can see these are all the weapons from the silver moons, but they, instead of costing I think 150 or 300 that it was over there, they only cost 30. But you'll see the real treasure are some of these. You don't want to buy those unless you really know what you're doing, but they are very strong weapons. Now, we'll come to the trash trades, things that you should not do. I have used 2 gold moons on this account. Anyone who knows the game and is perceptive enough may be able to know what I have traded these for. One the first one that I had, that I bought last month with 1,000 pendants, which they cost 1,000 pendants, by the way. The first one I used, I bought rupees. I was out of rupees, and I needed a bunch of them to upgrade some stuff, and did not want to farm slimes because I don't have the materials to uncap my characters to maximum. So I bought rupees. I shortcutted the grind, and I don't regret it, because the only other thing that I've really used moons on is weapons, and they're extremely expensive, prohibitively so. So I don't think I'll ever have a real use case for moons outside of rupees and CP, which is what I spent the other moon on. I bought 2,500 CP. Now most accounts, again, you should not do this. Most accounts will be able to get this level of CP passively by doing events and grinds as they come up, maybe supplementing them with side story income every so often. This account's not going to do any events, and I really wanted to kind of jumpstart mastering all of the Row 3 classes. So I looked at my the classes that I had left to unlock and the amount of CP that I got here for 1 gold moon, and thought to myself, I'm not going to use these gold moons. I may as well grab this CP and unlock all of the classes I have left that I have access to at the moment. And I'm going to stand by that decision. The only other thing that I might use gold moons on this account are these cages to get more extended mastery nodes, right? But I can't do that right now because we just haven't unlocked any. We've unlocked a couple, but not enough that it actually matters. You need to do a lot of content to get to the point where you need to unlock more nodes. And even then, some characters just don't have enough good nodes that you want to spend them on. Also, another thing to note for these, there's only one of these for each element. After that, they're gone. So even if I wanted to use the gold moons on these, they'd be gone almost immediately. Still, I will reiterate the point. I don't think that your average Granblue Fantasy account should spend gold moons on CP and rupees. It's just not a long-term investment. Now, some people would say save up for Zero Ticket, which you can use to get anything that you can pull from the current banner. Some people would say save up for Gold Moon weapons. Something like save up for one of these weapons. The what are they called again? I don't remember. It's a series name. But I'm never going to make it that far, because I get an income of 1 gold moon a month. Whereas someone who's pulling the gacha, especially someone with an older account, basically whenever they roll, they get a decent amount of gold moons, right? If I were to roll 100 times on my main account on a 6% banner, like the one with all the grand weapons and everything, the odds are in my favor at this point that I would probably get something in the neighborhood of 5 gold moons, because I have most of the SSR characters. So, yeah. There's a big difference in terms of what we have access to and what we're going to have access to. We're not going to have access to a lot of this stuff, so I figure speeding up the grind, speeding up our path to what we have becoming powerful, will make a big difference. There's another shop that we may look at that most people would spend a little bit in and then never look at again, and that is the crystals shop. You can spend crystals to buy things. Most people will not do this outside of buying weapon stashes. So, if I were to say, you know, because you will. We've actually run into the weapon cap already. We didn't run into the weapon cap in terms of weapons that we actually want to keep, but we did run into it. If you need more weapon slots, you'll need to spend crystals to buy those. And same with summon slots, though those are way less likely to be useful. But a weapon stash, you know, spend 500 crystals, you can put 400 weapons away. In fact, let me just buy one of these right now, because we're not going to use crystals on really anything. And you'll see it's still 5 slot, or 500. But now we can look, we have this stash. It's an extra inventory for weapons. So say I wanted to put a weapon in there, right? Be like, I can move to the stash, pick my stash. You know, let's say for whatever unknown reason, I want to save this mace. Right, now we look in our stash. The mace is over here, it's not in our inventory. And it's taking up 1 slot here, not a slot in our inventory. That's why it's valuable to buy a couple of weapon slot stashes. I have 4 on my main account. That's generally been enough so far. But I think ultimately, when we're here, we're probably going to spend some crystals on elixirs if we're going to go super hard on farming. And I wouldn't recommend doing that. But part of the reason that why we would have to is because we don't have access to AP positive farms. Like event farming can be, and the campaign exclusive quest is AP positive until you've cleared it, I think, 300 times. Because those quests can drop elixirs, and you can get elixirs from draw boxes and events and stuff like that. Where we don't have access to those, we're only getting the daily stuff. You know, the login rewards. And that kind of means that we'll probably want to supplement a little bit. If I'm remembering correctly, I don't think there's any other shops we need to talk about. Obviously, we're not going to use the MOBA coin shop, because this is just straight up money, real money, and we're not going to do that. So I think that about covers it for, you know, strange things that I've done and things that I haven't done. So I think next time we meet, I'll be doing main story. And I'll try to be doing main story, you know, as often as I can, because we do want to get up to a certain chapter as fast as we can, so we can unlock some more content that is time-gated. So we'll be getting there. It's not going to be the fastest process, because, you know, I'm watching the cutscenes play out in, you know, auto advanced speed, and then I need to, you know, make sure that basically rewatch everything to make sure that the audio balance is okay. And I'm sorry, I accidentally clicked off the window for there for a second. But yeah, I think. Oh, another thing that you'll want to do, but you'll want a guide for it. You can actually click this town tab, and when you click on these, they give you stuff. It's not very rare stuff, but it is stuff. And then there's a combination that you can put in, and most islands will reward you with a draw ticket. I would recommend checking the wiki for it, because it has all the combinations on there. I do not have them memorized, because there are a decent number of islands in this game, and some of the combinations, especially the later ones, get really complicated. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it off there, because I think I've talked about this enough. If anyone's been watching, anyone's felt this was helpful or anything, I'm glad. I just kind of wanted to get my thoughts out there. But until next time, this has been Shadow SP, signing off.